Hi guys, Krystal Vancely here. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. So today we're going to do something a little different, and as you can tell by the title, we're having a little story time about the tenants from hell and facing homelessness for the holidays.
So let's just jump right into the story. So a little over a year ago, I was diagnosed with a type of cancer, which I'm not going into because, well, I feel uncomfortable talking about it pretty much. But it changed a lot of things. Um, it made my husband and I realize that we wanted more out of life and we wanted to see more. Now, I was a military brat. So, I traveled. I, I've been to lots of different places. And even as an adult, I, I've always had that wanderlust. So, um, my husband, he never really been anywhere. He he pretty much stayed in Arkansas. I'm not saying he's never been anywhere. He's been to our surrounding states. But, never been on any real adventures, never been to the ocean or anything like that. And we thought that was the perfect time to just pick it up and go. So we set our 12-year-old up with homeschooling, which has turned out to be a blessing. It really has. I love homeschooling. And we decided to rent out our home while we traveled. That way we had income coming in while we were on the road. Oh, I wish I would have thought that through a little bit better. Okay, a lot better. We found this couple and they had 3 small children. And they were struggling where they were living at, which, I mean, I get that. I was a young mom too. And sometimes it's hard. It really is. Sometimes it's hard to make the bills. And they were living in a place that was relatively high for where we're from. So I decided to let them rent my house for a smaller amount than what they were paying. Now, just to let you know, this house was given to me when my father died. It wasn't anything fancy. I had done some remodeling to the inside, but it was mine, and it was home. I beat myself up a lot now because I really, really should have thought things through a lot better. But hindsight being what it is, you know. So anyway, we rent the house out and we take off. And we had some amazing times. And I'll put some pictures on the screen. My husband got to see the ocean for the first time. We slept on the beach in Louisiana. Went to Holly Beach and slept on the beach. My husband and my 12-year-old absolutely loved it. Although my husband was a little scared that because they have alligators everywhere, that the alligators might get us. It was cute. Spent the day picking up seashells and just enjoying the beautiful scenery. We went to New Orleans and walked down Bourbon Street, and My son really enjoyed it. He saw a boy younger than him playing um, what are those things? 5-gallon buckets. Sorry, I'm a little brain dead. He saw him playing 5-gallon buckets like they were drums, and he was really talented. And my son thought that was just so awesome. And we seen, oh gosh, what did we see? I have so many pictures of beautiful buildings, and uh, it's it's just different there, and it's really pretty. We left New Orleans and we went to Florida. We went to Jacksonville. Uh, we went to the Mosh Museum, the Museum of Science and History in Jacksonville. If you ever are there, get a chance, do check it out. It's really cool. We had a lot of fun. I definitely will post some pictures. They have some cute stuff. And stuff from back when I was a kid, which really made it neat, especially if you're into superheroes and stuff. I was a comic book freak when I was a kid. But we spent some time with family and really enjoyed ourselves. We made our way to Texas. We actually picked up a couple of our girls on the way, and they went with us to Texas. And then we hit Colorado, which was beautiful, which I already knew. I lived in Colorado Springs once before, many years ago. And, excuse me. And you just can't get that scenery or beautiful air anywhere else. We went on one side of Colorado Springs, and it was sunny and warm, and we climbed the rocks and saw the kissing camels. And then we went to the other side of Colorado Springs, and we were hiking through the snow. It was fabulous. It really was. Oh my gosh, if you've never been to Colorado Springs, you don't know what you're missing, especially if you love being in the outdoors. After Colorado Springs, we made our way back to Arkansas. And at the time, I still wasn't having any problems with my tenants. Christmas came and went, and we were staying with one of our sons during the holidays. I kind of backtracked a little because the holidays came before we went to Colorado. I do apologize. Anyway, fast forward, my tenants got to where they weren't paying their rent on time. And then it went from not paying their rent on time to not paying their rent. I drove by the house, and I noticed, points of where people weren't staying in the house, or I thought nobody was staying in the house. But technically they were still renting it. When they stopped paying their rent, and I tried for a couple months to get everything lined out with them, they were avoiding me. They started going to different towns, and it was this whole ordeal. Anyway, I had to go through the eviction process with them, which that in itself was horrible. I mean, really horrible. If you've ever been through it, it's just a pain. I finally got them evicted, and when we went to change the locks, I was so disappointed. I went in my house. There was spray paint all over the walls in the kitchen, the ceiling, the back door. There was a big hole in the living room floor. There were holes in the walls. There was gunshot holes in the bedroom floors. They let their children flush toys down the toilet. They let them flood the bathroom floor. And I mean, it was a mess. It really was. Well, I thought everything was over after we got them evicted. And I knew it was going to take a little bit to fix the house back up. So we went from staying with our son to staying with our daughter in a city not too far from here to try to get our funds back up, to try to get back in our house. Well, I was getting phone calls from a neighbor across the street who I love dearly. She's such a big help. I was watching the house, and she kept saying she's seen people. So my husband and I made a trip back to the small town where my house is. And people were breaking in. Now, I'm pretty sure it was the tenants from hell, I'm not going to lie. Because we had issues. They left almost everything they owned in the house. I had to set it all out and dispose of it because, it was just so nasty. I never seen animal feces on so much stuff in my life. I've never seen anything like this, to be honest. And I'm 43. But we ended up fixing the locks, and we thought we had everything to where they couldn't get in again. So, fast forward some more. We get ready to start moving into our house because our grandson was being born. And the house that we own is in the town where my grandson would be living. So, I know I say so a lot. I'm sorry. I actually do that all the time. It's not anything to do with the camera. It could be worse. I could still be saying like all the time. I am from Cali. But we ended up getting a call that my grandson was being born. So we left my daughters, packed our stuff, and went to stay with my son for a couple of weeks to help with the baby. And we were going to be working on our house while we were there for the 2 weeks. Now, mind you, my son's landlord only let us stay 2 weeks. We went to the house to start cleaning it up. We had a week and a half to be out of my son's. When we pull up, we noticed water, puddled water next to the back of the house. Now, mind you, everything was shut off when we had went before and checked on the house. Then we noticed that there was water on the front porch, close to the house where, rainwater couldn't get. And I was so scared, but my husband said, I'm going to go check the puddle at the back of the house again. So he went back and realized he could hear running water. We immediately run to the water main, and seen it was spinning like crazy. So we shut it off. Unlocked our house and found it beyond repair. The tenants from hell were so spiteful, and I'm not saying this to just point blame. There were people who seen this. Unfortunately, people in our town didn't bother calling the police. They had turned the water on, had broke in and turned all the faucets on. Now, mind you, it's winter, and in Arkansas, we may have freezing weather for a week and then warm weather for another week. So the weather's been a little crazy, and we've had spells where everything's froze. They had turned the water on. This is a 900 square foot home. It was flooded. I couldn't walk in. I had surgery a few years back to remove part of my right lung. So my husband wouldn't let me go in to get pictures. But my ceiling had fell in. There was mold everywhere. Floors were ruined. It just broke my heart. I didn't know what to do. I broke down in tears. I'm about to break down in tears now. Sorry. A neighbor who happened to be walking her dog was seeing me in tears and had asked me, "Is that your house?" And I told her yes, that I had been renting it out to people and they had destroyed it. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't want to cry on camera. And she proceeds to tell me that the police were there on a regular basis. Mind you, I had called the police about my house being broke into. And they told me they drove by there. Because I told them I was not staying in the house. It was not even where I could stay in it at the time. And they didn't do anything. They said the police were there on a regular basis because of the people's animals. The woman told me that these people were selling drugs out of the window, and people were driving up to the house that my dad left me. Sorry. And the woman had never called the police. She's seen this stuff. She said she's seen their kids naked in the road and almost getting hit by cars. Another neighbor told me she heard people breaking in, but she was too scared to call the police. I didn't have homeowners insurance, so I had a week and a half and no place to live. And Christmas time was right around the corner. Collected myself. I went back to my sons. And I had to break the news to my children that the house that was left to me was destroyed. Now, I'm 43. I've lived all over. Had many adventures. I've had hard times, but I had never been facing homelessness, ever. And I was terrified. Not to say that I couldn't do it. I just didn't want to do it with my 12-year-old. But I did have to break it to him and my other children, which my other children are adults, that we weren't having Christmas. My son did get a couple of gifts, which I had ordered. Luckily, I had some gift cards. But I was able to get him a couple of things from Amazon. And a really good friend got him a really nice pair of shoes. And I'm just so grateful. I really didn't want to get it so emotional. I'm so sorry. We were planning on moving in our house, so we didn't have a whole lot of money. And I didn't know how we were going to get into a place. But luckily, the Friday before Christmas, we were fortunate enough to find somebody that understood where we were coming from. And they let us rent a trailer from them, which is where I'm at. So, as you can see, we didn't end up homeless. But I learned some lessons. I learned, unfortunately, not to be so trusting. And I have to stop thinking with my heart, because my heart went out to those little kids, and that's how I ended up in this situation. But I also learned that there are still good people out there. The man who let us in this trailer, he actually dropped the price of rent, what he was asking for, and let us move in with no deposit. One of my children were able to help with deposits on utilities, which as a parent is heartbreaking, having to ask your child. But I'm so thankful for my babies. And I'm thankful for everything they've done. I'm thankful to our friends who have helped. We had no furniture because, all our stuff was in storage, and we had left a lot of furniture with that family thinking that we were helping somebody. But that's okay. We had furniture given to us. But I want people to know that if you're not rich, it doesn't take much to be facing homelessness. And it's a really scary thought, especially if you have a child. Just be more aware if you're a landlord who you're renting to, especially if it's your only home. I'm still kicking myself in the butt. I actually have somebody who's willing to buy my property as is, but I'm not going to get very much for it. But I know this sounds crazy. I just can't look at it anymore. It breaks my heart to see how somebody had just such blatant disrespect. We did end up having I'm going to say a lovely Christmas. No, my son didn't get spoiled this year. But we had a nice hot meal and spent some time with some family. And now we're trying to make a comeback. I didn't know this was going to go on so long. I'm not the best storyteller. Just be thankful for what you have and who you have in your life. And, again, if you're renting out a place, research people. I wish I would have. Don't let your heart make all your decisions. And if you were homeless for the holidays, I'm so sorry that you're going through what you're going through. And I hope that you're fortunate enough to get out of that situation. And I'm not saying everybody who's homeless is in a bad situation, because, there are mobile homeless that are choosing to do it. We had actually thought about that, but we have such a tiny car. We could have done it, but it would have been uncomfortable. Just, yeah. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. And I'm sorry for my sad story. I just want people to know that sometimes you can get in these situations, and if you live paycheck to paycheck, it's literally right there. It really is. It's right there. I hope you enjoyed, or at least empathized with, my story. And if you know somebody who is in a situation, you may not have to do what I did and get yourself all messed up by renting out your only home. But it's still important to help people, because if my situation, if I wouldn't have gotten help, I would probably be homeless right now. Positive vibes to everybody. And I can't wait to see you guys again. And until next time, much love.